It's really got to be drilled.
He's got him on his back.
When we talk about a low single leg,
lightning fast.
In this video, we're going to take a look at Gavin Saaks from North Dakota State. He is about anything but traditional on his feet. I mean, he doesn't care if you try and attack his legs. He says, come get him. And then basically sloths his way around the guy's body to score. I'm starting to call him a sloth man because you'll see. Let's get into it. All right, so here we're going to get a look at kind of the two positions that Saaks wrestles from. And the first one's this kind of low single type position. And then typically what I see him doing is slipping into this more of a high crotch position. Guy gets his head back underneath. This one gets stalemated. But just to go over these two positions real quick. Guy attacks. And one of the things we'll notice is my man does not give a rip that this guy's going to attack. Does not care one bit. All right, so we see a bunch of fakes, not even a single flinch with his lead leg. Not one. He just says, bring it on. This is where I wrestle from. All right, so this first position is this kind of low single, and ideally he tends to want to go from a knee pit on the back of the guy's head to the inner part of his knee on the back of the guy's head. We're going to see this toe start to turn in right there, which went from knee pit on the back of the guy's head to the inside of his knee on the back of the guy's head, and leg straight. This puts a lot of weight down on the guy's head and actually starts to lift their attack hand or elbow up, which would put their arm behind their head, making it difficult to finish. All right, so here we see him kind of keep this position, makes it really hard for the guy to lift. He's leaning way away, and then when the guy does start to lift is when he starts to slip this knee off the guy's head. So the guy goes into lift, and we see his head kind of pop out. So Gavin continues to point that knee down and in, which makes his knee slip off, and then will look to a lot of times beat their shoulder right away, do some crackdown type stuff. But this is the kind of position that he's also looking to wrestle from. So he's either kind of like low single on the back of the guy's head or slipping that knee off into this kind of crackdown position. And then here we see the guy get back underneath, and again, leg straight with the inside knee on the back of the head, really leaning off to this side, putting a ton of weight going this direction, making this guy's hand lift up behind his head, which makes it hard to control his leg. So here, real quick look again at that second position he wrestles from, which is kind of this crackdown. Here he goes a little more traditional corner sit type stuff. It gets stalemated, but again, these are the kind of positions we're going to see throughout the video. So this guy is looking like he's trying to go like low single, but Gavin gets crotch lock and is able to kind of sit around this corner, looking to hook foot, trying to get weight on the guy's head in order to get his leg free and then wrestle through some of these positions. So this is kind of how Saaks gets back to a sprawl position. Again, he never, hardly ever initially sprawls. He almost always just says, yeah, come get my leg, and then will make adjustments. So as this guy hits his leg, we're going to see his forearm attacking this guy's near arm, pushing it across to help do two things. One, not let him get double legged right away, and two, try and slip the guy's shoulder outside his hip. All right. So we see as we go down, He's looking for elbow around the hamstring on this near side and over top of the body on that far side, looking to lock his hands. All right, so we see he's got the guy's shoulder out a little bit. This guy's elbow pit is the only thing really hooking onto his leg right here. So he's going to be able to really scoot around this corner and then get weight back over the guy. So here he's got his hands locked, continuing to scoot this way as he drives this back elbow forward, which will make the guy's arm weak. It'll come back toward his body, which makes everything really tight, and there will be no posts here. You can see it's like small posted out here. There'll be no posts over here when he starts to drive forward and scoot this direction, and he's able to take him over his head. Halfway through, releases his hands so he doesn't get trapped on his side with his arm stuck underneath the guy. Posts it on the mat to keep a little bit of height. Carries himself around and then looks to sprawl. And this position ends up getting stalemated as well. The guy just has really good grip, got his shoulder kind of back in, but we can see where this could turn into a sprawl go behind situation. So here in this clip, we got one example of why I kind of call him the sloth man, because he's got nothing touching the mat. Like a sloth, they're better in trees, right? So, and then he just finds all kinds of limbs to grab onto and just stays attached pretty much the whole time to the guy. So here we see that low single kind of position initially. And again, he's trying to lean off to the side to put weight that direction and get this guy's hand to start getting a little weaker as it lifts behind. So he does a really good job of recognizing when this foot is in some kind of danger. So if this guy switches to this bottom leg, it could be a little bit better for him. But Saaks recognizes his reach and pulls that foot away. Kind of takes his heel toward his butt, pulls that foot away, and then keeps it hidden so he doesn't let it go back straight out this direction, making it hard for either hand to reach that heel. If you can get if the offensive guy get to the heel and start to get their leg straight, it's pretty tough to scramble in here. All right, so the guy opts for a different option. He's going to try and take this leg off. And again, we see him in that crotch lock type position. As soon as this leg starts to come off, he is making sure there's going to be no more control by kicking his leg straight and up. All right, so here, if he keeps it bent, the guy might be able to hold on to it and pull it down toward his chest on the outside. But we see him kick his leg straight and then float both knees off to the side here. All right, this is the thing that I really like watching him do. He's really good at sticking his inside leg in, looking for like a crossbody type leg in option. So as soon as he floats off, inside foot steps in, and then he's going to keep this other knee continuing to swing around the guy's body. All right, he wants to try and get it at least center or past this guy's midline as they're scrambling through here. All right. We see the guy try and roll. Saaks just follows them, ends up catching with that opposite leg. And then you can just tell he's been in this position a ton. I actually think that this guy makes a mistake by reaching for his head. he continues to turn this direction the way Saaks' bottom leg is here, he might be able to wrestle through the position a little bit longer. But since he turns, his hips point down to the mat, Saaks is able to sneak this leg in, cover his hip height, and ends up in his cross-body position with a leg in. This is a pretty wild sequence here. Same kind of scramble stuff's going on. Gets kind of in this corner sit position, which I may start calling the sloth position, because it's just, especially like right here, it's such a wild place to be and then wrestle out of. So kind of low single-ish to start. Again, leg straight, knee is pointing toward the guy, and then as his head slips out, we're going to see him try and beat this shoulder over top of his thigh. And here he takes his crotch lock and rolls the guy backwards. Right? And this is a crazy transition here. So he starts to roll him backwards and then uses this bottom knee underneath the guy's hamstring to push him into his lap. So we see this knee come up, pushes him into his lap so he can start to sit back up. And here he's almost got his leg in. And he's going to continue to try and scoot around. He has to look to get this bottom leg at least on this side of the guy's body. All right, if it stays underneath where it's at, real tough position. So here we see him start getting the height, pulling that leg back out. And there we go. It's back on this side of the guy's body, which means he's in a little better position, looking to score. Attacks far ankle, decent option. Attacks far arm, decent option. And then continues to put weight up so he can get height and start to get this leg free. And here we see the guy trap his leg again. Then he's continuing to pull this. This, for most people, would start to seem like pretty dangerous, right? So as soon as this guy's got your far ankle and starts to hip into you, taking you to your back, but Slothman says, I don't care. I'm going to drop my leg in when you sit up. So he drops his leg in and then again continues to work head height, trying to pull this bottom leg out and behind the guy's butt. Here we see it behind, and he transitions right into this side headlock and gets his score. Right? Pretty impressive movement. Here we're going to see that side headlock position again, but a little bit different. So he's got him kind of cracked down, working through, trying to find a way to score, getting far ankle, transitioning underneath, over top, attacking hands, and legs going straight, trying to put some stress on the guy's lock. Now as the guy starts to get height, this is where we start to see this side headlock position. And he looks like he's in danger, and then is like, nope, I'm the sloth man, and gets back on top. Right, so similar stuff. We see kind of traditional crotch lift corner sit, looking to get behind. And then as the guy starts to get height and wrestle back into him, we see him go side headlock pretty early. And again, his bottom knee or bottom leg is not in a great spot. Ideally, he'd want it like around the guy a little bit more. It's trapped underneath him here. And it does put him in a little bit of danger. I actually think he got pinned kind of in this position earlier in the tournament, I think first round. But here he ends up getting his hips free. Ref starts counting danger. It's fine. Does a bridge and then looks to swing his leg back in on top. So we're going to see this leg swing over, try and get that leg in. And then roll the guy back to his belly and ends up on top with his score. Here we're going to see more of a kind of roll through, continue to scramble option. A lot of similar stuff here that we've seen before, where he's attacking far ankle, went from crotch lock to far ankle, kind of looking to sit corner. Guy starts lifting him up, gets back to his crotch lock here, rolls all the way through. It ends up on a stalemate, but we can start to see where there's kind of a few more options within this position. So once he gets lifted, we see him transition back. So he's a little more behind. We see him transition back kind of in front. And then looks for his crotch lock. Gets the guy's butt on his chest. So he is able to just roll him right over top. And then here it would be probably an ideal world if he could keep his legs split and then sit up into him. The guy does a good job kicking all the way through and ends up continuing the scramble that gets stalemated. We're going to see a similar roll option here. He's got his crotch lock. He got lifted. Both guys are kind of trying to figure out what to do. As soon as this guy's second foot comes through, he's losing post behind him. Takes him over top. And then ends up in more of a traditional sprawl type position. Again, ends up getting stalemated. But he gets himself out of kind of a bad situation and back to a defendable position. So here with this crotch lock, we're going to see as soon as the guy transitions double leg, he's going to be driving this way, right? And we're going to see Gavin take his legs underneath the guy to roll him. If he keeps his feet way out to the side, it's going to be really difficult. So he shoot his knees kind of underneath the guy to get his body on top. That way he can get everything dumped off to this far side. Hooks top legs, the guy can't kick back over. Rolls all the way through and ends up with the guy pretty extended in more of a sprawl position.